On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. What we do is use returns for the S&P 500 for the last 100 years and we project ahead what might happen in the future. I recently saw this request. An individual said have 650,000 saved up. They want to know if they can retire and have their money last. So we're going to do 650,000. Now, the key question we need to know is how much they're going to get for Social Security and when they're going to get it. The average Social Security at the end of last year was 1,907. Well, let's just use that for an average. 1,907. You're going to get that in the very first year. If they're 62 years old, they're getting it right then. But the key question in all this, before you can answer any of these questions, how long this money lasts, is what are your monthly expenses going to be? Obviously, if you need $10,000 a month, this money's not going to last. But let's say, for example, you just need $4,500 a month. With this 1,907 from Social Security, you just need 2,593 out of your nest egg. So let's go ahead and run the numbers, giving yourself a 3% COLA. In other words, starting out with 2,593 and going up by 3%. Let's also do one other thing. You leave 100% in the stock market because when the market's going down, you'd have to sell, and that mean to be selling low. So let's go and do a 70-30 split, 70% staying in the S&P 500, 30% going over into a more liquid account, a cash reserve account that you can withdraw from instead of the S&P 500 when the market's going down. So let's go ahead and run the numbers. This is going to run it for every single year for the last 100 years. And we're going to see how many times you would run out of money. 4% of the time in 20 years and 4% in 30 years. And this is the actual graph. You would have run out of money a little bit in the Depression years and also around the year 2000 because the year 2000 was problematic. If you look right here, we had a down decade right there. So during the Depression years and during the 2000s, you would have had some issues with this scenario, 650,000 withdrawing 4,500. Let's go ahead and say you want to take it into fifth year. And according to fifth year, you're getting in Social Security, you're going to get 2391. 2391. So for 4 years, you're taking out 4,500, going with a COLA of 3%. And then in the fifth year, this 2391 kicks in. Let's see how the numbers might work out then. You're getting more for your Social Security, but you also took out more out of your nest egg initially, the first 4 years. So you got 7% of the time you're running out of money in 20 years and 8% in 30 years. Here's the graph here. So let's do one other scenario. Let's go back to the taking it right from the very beginning. It was 1907. Let's go ahead and that was 4%. Let's go ahead and take out a little bit more. Let's say your monthly expenses. What am I missing here? Let's see here. Update should be 4% and 4%. Recalculating. There we go. Let's say you actually need 5,000 a month. Again, this is the key right here. How much do you need a month? And obviously how much you get for Social Security, but how much do you need? Will this 650,000 last? Well, if you need 5,000 a month, how many times in the last 100 years would you run out of money? With that scenario, 10% of the time in 20 years and 23% of the time in 30 years. So it's getting a little bit uncomfortable. So maybe the 650,000 might not be something you'd be ready to retire with if you needed 5,000 a month. 4,500 looked a lot more doable. But that's what we do on this channel. We run all kinds of different numbers just to see where you might be. And again, we use the S&P 500. Why? Because it's got 100 years worth of data. And we just project ahead what similar returns might do in the future. And then it ends up being a possible range. And we saw the range here is these are the numbers over here. 9.9% of the time you'd be running out of money, basically 10% in 20 years, and 22.5 or 23% of the time you run out in 30 years. These are the actual numbers. You can see most of them are in depression years. You go down through here just fine until around the 1960s. You had a few more problems in the 30-year period, and then you got the period during the year 2000. Of course, we haven't had 30 years since the year 2000, but we've got 4 down years there. So that's what we do. We just run numbers for people. We just love doing it. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Please let your friends know about this channel, both in the accumulation stage. We show that when you're saving to see what you might have in the future, but also in the withdrawal stage once you reach retirement. So please subscribe. Please share this with friends. Please like the video, and thanks for watching.